What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked In Baseball podcast. I'm William Locke, and joining me, as he does for every Major League Baseball podcast, is Luis Barranco. Luis, it is Thursday, October 16th, late at night. We just had the Blue Jays tied the series up at 2 apiece against the Mariners, and the Dodgers took a 3-0 lead against the Brewers. How is it going, my friend?
I mean, it's 11:38 Eastern Standard Time out here. I do not expect to get much sleep tomorrow, so I expect to have a great day at work. We're live, we're loaded, we're ready to go. I mean, we got teams still living, no funerals tonight. We got a team on life support and another team that clearly we don't know what's going to happen. And so we're here, we're there, we're everywhere. Let's get this thing going. I mean, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We've seen some good baseball. I mean, I am enjoying, both series. You have a battle in the AL of offensive juggernauts with one series, and they're not juggernauts, but you're seeing a lot of runs getting scored, and then you're just seeing like low scoring on the NL side, and when you see the Brewers and Dodgers. But we're here. I mean, it's officially dry season down here in Florida, so no rain. It is about 80 degrees with the breeze. It's the best time of the year to be down here. Hey, a lot to be happy about. Locked in baseball podcast coming to you live in direct tonight. How are you doing? Is my question.
I'm feeling good. Been loving the baseball. I love the games or the days where there's two games. The single day games are fine, but today was a doubleheader. I really enjoyed it.
Whoa.
What?
I prefer single games.
Really?
That's just me. I prefer digesting. It's like now that we're in the playoffs, these games are like, you're getting a nice, this is the equivalent of getting a nice 48-ounce tomahawk ribeye steak at your favorite steakhouse. And you can't eat two of them. You got to eat one at a time. I mean, if you eat two of them, you're freaking heinous. You're a freaking animal. You're a freaking absolute unit, not Randy Johnson,
Yeah, that's fair. I think tomorrow is the last doubleheader of the season, no matter what happens, because we'll have game. Yeah, actually, this says that we would have game 6 and game 7 of these series.
That
ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Stop getting the fans hope and stop giving any signs of life because there's one series that we'll talk about later that is clearly over. It's clearly on life support. It's almost done. It's like they're listening to Creed One Last Breath type, right? So let's get it going. I mean, we just had Seattle tie up. Toronto just tied up the series. I mean, hey, I don't know. It could have been, getting out of home. They've become road warriors, a team that's been number one up there behind the Phillies in home major league record wins. They've become absolute road warriors as they take games 3 and 4. 3 was an absolute slaughter. It was a 13-4 game that Toronto won yesterday. I mean, a lot to take from that one. And then you had today's game, which was 8-2. Not a slaughter, but just a slow, painful death for Seattle in tonight's game. I mean, there's a lot to digest. I just want to first off talk about. It is going to be really hard to beat the Blue Jays if you keep pitching to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is on a freaking mission this postseason. When you look at his postseason stats, especially right now in the AL and the ALCS, they're absolutely gone nuclear. Like, I'm telling you, this dude got his money and he's showing the world why he's supposed to be the best third baseman in Major League Baseball.
Third baseman.
First baseman. I said first baseman. Excuse my French. But hey, let's talk about it. Versus the Yankees, he had 529, 550 on base percentage, and a slugging over 1,059. And now in this series, he's had 13 plate appearances, 11 at bats, and he's hitting 364, 462 on base percentage, and an 818 slugging right now, which is crazy. I mean, game 3, he went 4 for 4, 3 runs, 1 homer, 1 RBI, and a walk. And then today he goes 5 at bats, 2 hits, a homer, and an RBI. Like, why is Seattle even considering pitching to this guy? I mean, do they really just want to lose? Do they really want their fans to go through another 20x years of suffering, or they just want fans to suffer? Because honestly, that's just not a good business model. Making your consumer suffer is just not a way to bring back the customer. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, he was a triple away from the cycle last night, and he had a good opportunity to get it if he wanted to try to leg out that double that he got hit to the right center gap. He didn't. He ended up with the double. On the postseason, he has 5 home runs with a 4.55 average and a 1.470 OPS. Yeah, this guy is incredible right now. I don't know why you would pitch to him at all. Another guy, and I think this was the story really for the Blue Jays yesterday, was the bottom half of the lineup. Yesterday, Andres Gimenez went 3 for 5. He hit the 2-run home run, and that really kind of changed the whole tenor of that game, because yesterday you had Julio Rodriguez lead off the game in the first inning with a 2-run shot off Shane Bieber, and you're like, oh boy, like here we go again. They're the Mariners are up 2-0 in the series. They took a 2-0 lead early. It kind of felt like, I mean, you texted me, you said Mariners in 4 ? And it kind of felt like we were heading that way. Sure enough, from there, the Blue Jays scored 12 unanswered, starting off with that Andres Gimenez home run in the third, which was huge. Totally, I think that home run flipped the whole script of this entire series. And so Jimenez had a big game yesterday. Ernie Clement went 2 for 5 in the 8-hole. And then today, Andres Gimenez was great again, 2 for 4, another home run, 4 ribbies. And, he's playing good defense, had a bunt laid down. Those other guys outside of Vlad have showed up these past 2 games. I mean, pretty much everybody has showed up these past 2 games. Addison Barger played great defense in right field today. I thought maybe the play of the game was when it was 5-1 in the 6th. And Suarez hit that single to right field, and I don't know what Josh Naylor was doing.
Oh my God!
Like the second slowest sprint speed in all of baseball, and you're trying to leg it out to try to get to third in that situation. Addison Barcher, as a cannon from right field, threw him out by a few steps, and that was kind of it. It should have been first and second with 2 outs, and I can't remember who would have been up in that situation. It would have been Canzone. Still, either way, it's an opportunity to score there, and that's just a killer. And from there, the next inning, Vlad hits the home run to get that run right back, and then Jimenez had an RBI single in the 8th, and that was it. It was 8-2, game over.
I mean, you're taking words out of my mouth. I mean, that's what I wanted to come on and talk about tonight, is how those guys from that series, like the bottom half of the order for Toronto, has been, Andres Gimenez with the homer tonight as well, like the catalyst of everything going on in this series. One thing I do want to highlight too is Seattle's bullpen, and I don't know, but it's kind of interesting how their bullpen's kind of like, I don't want to say self-destructed, but they've been struggling a lot. I mean, last night, Vargas, Ferguson, and Luke Jackson combined for, I know George Kirby wasn't great, but you got to at least show some pride and try to hold the game down. They combined for 5 earned runs in 5 innings of work. They walked 1 batter, but still giving up. You're not going to win a Major League Baseball game giving up 5 runs. Like, it's very tough, and especially in the postseason when it's the best. And tonight they were better, but I mean, again, tonight you give up 5 earned runs between Gabe Spire, Emerson Hancock, and Eduard Bazardo. So it's something interesting of note. I want to ask you this question. I mean, you brought up the point about that play with Josh Naylor legging it out, which I think that really just changed the complexion of the game. Like, it's you go, like you said, you go from having a runner on first and second with 2 outs, and you're building up a rally. And again, what does every major league ex player say? There's too many players trying to be the hero in these moments. You got to just get on base, build momentum, manufacture runs. Look what Toronto was doing tonight. They were getting on base, getting guys on first and second, and then they were putting sack bunts, moving the runner over so many times. Like, those little things that we talk about a lot when you watch the Yankees and other teams. Like, Toronto was doing incredible. Lay the bunt down, everybody moves the wagon. Now, my question is, do you agree with how Seattle has been managing the game? I mean, they have early hooks on Luis Castillo tonight. They pulled him very early. They pulled him after 2 1/3, and they put Gabe Spire, who's given up some runs this postseason. Are you the type of guy that you would agree with, giving your starter a little more leg to get out of it in the postseason? Or are you one of those like, hey, once it's getting hot and heavy, it's time to go? Dan Wilson's been very short on the leash this postseason.
Yeah, I think it obviously depends on the context of the game. I think in this situation today, it did feel a little bit early, given that they had the 1-0 lead. It was bases loaded with one out in the third when he got pulled, and then Spire comes in, has the walk to make it 3-1, gets out of the inning outside of that. But I did think it was a little early of a hook for Castillo. He didn't have his ace stuff today. He was hitting too much of the plate for sure. But I just think, it's not like the Mariners have a Padres level bullpen. It's not like they have a 2015 level Royals bullpen where you can kind of just roll it out there and think, expect it to save your game. And the more and more Toronto sees this bullpen, the more and more they're going to be able to get hits off it. Sure enough, they got to Spire, they got to Bizzardo, and they got to Hancock. Hancock's, a converted starter, kind of just like a innings eater for them. But
swing arm is like what we like to call it,
A swing arm. I thought it was a little bit of an early hook, though, for Castillo. Only threw 48 pitches. I know it was a must-win game for Seattle. At least it felt that way, the way he managed it. But, yeah, I did think it was kind of an early hook. And it didn't work out for them, and now their bullpen is pretty taxed heading into Game 5 tomorrow, a pivotal Game 5. A game that Seattle has to win. You can't go down back to Toronto down 3-2. And another thing for the Mariners that went against them is, we're 11 minutes into this thing. We haven't talked about how amazing Max Scherzer was today, and he's helped save the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Vintage Scherzer tonight.
It was vintage Scherzer. Him, one thing we give a lot of flack to the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. I know you're not a fan of him,
John
Schneider. But I think the clip that it's going around social media, I was on social media during the game, is that clip where Matt Scherzer was pretty much, hey, keep me in. And at some points, you just got to let those guys, those veterans, go out and duke it out and get the work done. And, again, Dan Wilson for the Mariners, we saw it versus the Detroit series in that pivotal Game 5. He ended up pulling George Kirby really quickly. And it was something of many people that questioned, why did you pull him that quickly? We understand the circumstances and that they went down, but was an early hook. And he, like that time, he didn't pay the repercussions. But now, tonight, it didn't go well at all. And again, it's just something of note.
I have some stats on Scherzer. 5 2/3, 2 earned. He did have 4 walks. He didn't have his A command, but 5 strikeouts on 87 pitches. Did give up the home run. The 96.5 mile an hour fastball he threw to Cal Raleigh in the first inning was the hardest pitch he's thrown since June 24th, 2023. He had that pickoff against Leo Rivas in the third, which kind of, muzzled a rally there for Seattle. That was the first pickoff he's had in any game since 2016 and the first of his postseason career. He's now just the 4th pitcher in Major League history to win a postseason game at 41 or older, joining Roger Clemens, who had 5, Kenny Rogers, shout out to Kenny Rogers, Detroit Tiger legend, and Dennis Martinez. It was his 500th career start across the regular season and postseason. Again, first ballot Hall of Famer. This is a guy that he was not good this regular season. If you look at his game log heading up into the postseason, his last start was September 24th against Boston. He gave up 4 earned runs and 10 hits across 5 innings. He had a terrible start before that against Kansas City. Only went 2 2/3 of an inning, giving up 7 earned runs. With 2 homers allowed there. He had a 10+ ERA in August, and on the season he had a 5.19 ERA. This was a true turn back the clock start for Scherzer, man. He just reached deep into his bag. And honestly, it was really fun to watch. I always remember just how gritty he was in 2019, playing through that injury, getting the Nationals to the World Series, winning a World Series with them. And the 2-colored eye thing for Scherzer, I'll never get used to it. It's always weird, no matter what. I'll never get used to that.
He's crazy, but they put up a stat. Let me ask you, when was the last time Max Scherzer had a postseason win before tonight?
I think it was 2019, right? 6 years
He hasn't won in 2019, because then after 2019 we went to LA, and in LA he didn't win the wild card game. Pitched 4 1/3. He pitched 7 innings against San Francisco, and they lost that game in the DS Game 3. He started against Atlanta in the CS Game 2, lost that one. Wasn't credited with the loss, but they lost that game. And then he had that Met start against the Mets in 22, gave up 7 earned to the Padres. He pitched with Texas, and he got the loss in Game 3 of the CS. Game 7, he was handed a no decision, and he was handed a no decision as well for the World Series Game 3 against Arizona. He pitched 3 innings.
I kind of feel like people are gonna, in the grand scheme of like looking back on Max Scherzer's career, people are gonna forget that he won that World Series with the Rangers. Because I'm already kind of forgetting, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, that World Series is kind of weird because, like, the only people that had it up, like, that could have seen Arizona making it that far is us because we were always, like, big on Arizona. But Arizona, Texas is probably, like, one of the forgettable World Series, like, in past. But
if we're being honest, yes. And we weren't the only ones that had Arizona, though.
I know, but we've always been high on Arizona. But, like, it's just like Seattle. I mean, we were listening to our playoff preview and, like, yeah, Seattle's doing great. And, like, for all the doom and gloom that is Seattle still has the starting pitching to get back in this series. Like, they still have the bullet in Brian Wu who can come out and pitch if they want to do it. And
what's the deal with Wu, though? Sorry to interrupt, but it's going to be Bryce Miller tomorrow for Game 5. We thought Wu was going to go Game 4, Game 5 in Seattle, and now Toronto's got Gausman again going tomorrow. Is Wu going to come out of the bullpen? He's clearly not 100% with the pec injury, which is scary, and there's no ramp up, there's no rehab, start. It's just first start since like the second to last week of the season. He's just got to be ready to go.
I could totally see tomorrow. Right now, I can totally see it that it's like a 3-2 game, 4-3 one-run game, and they're in it. They're winning the game, and they don't have anybody in the pen because they've taxed everybody in the past week and a half that you just go, Woo, give us 2 to 3 innings and let's ride, and he carries you. But, he's a fastball pitcher, highest percentage, one of the highest percentages in the majors using the fastball. So, it'll be very interesting to see how they combat that with Toronto. Toronto's just seeing red. Again, I want to stay optimistic on Seattle because we picked Seattle to win the series, but it's hard to go against the hot team. And I've heard a lot of other athletes talk about when you go on the road, there's some teams that just come together and they block out the noise, and it's easier to play on the road than at home because at home you have all the other distractions of local sports media, your family, and whatnot. That going on the road kind of brings you together. It's like an us against the world, and especially in a city like Seattle where it's a rabid fan base. They got a whole country behind them, and they're in a whole nother country right now. So
there were a lot of Blue Jay fans at these games.
Well, I told you they just drove down from Vancouver, from British Columbia. Like y'all forget. I remember when Apple TV first started, they were talking about like they had an Apple TV night game, like one of these 10 o'clock Pacific night games, and it was the Mariners versus the Blue Jays. But hey, Gausman's going up tomorrow night. And this is going to be a big start for Gausman. Gausman gets paid the big bucks for the Blue Jays. He is their ace, and he has to come in and shut it down tomorrow. It's what they pay him to do, and Toronto has a really good chance of putting their one foot into the door to the World Series tomorrow. So Gausman, you're getting paid the money to be the ace. You're getting paid the money to be the number one guy. They're putting you up there tomorrow because they believe that you can go in, give them 6 to 7 innings of good ball, giving 1 to 2 runs and shutting down a game. Let's see if you can actually do that. Because a lot of people, yes, Gausman's a great pitcher, but a lot of people don't put him up in that category. I think you would agree he's not in that category of guys that you just hand the ball to and you're just confident in. That's a select group of guys. And he's getting paid that money to be one of those dudes.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think he's in the tier A of starting pitchers. He can be in that tier 2. 5 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned in Game 1, which Seattle obviously won 3-1. Huge pressure on him. A lot of pressure on Bryce Miller, who was outstanding in Game 1 against the Blue Jays. After that kind of rocky start with the Springer leadoff home run, he ended up going 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. It's a rematch of Game 1. This time it's in Seattle. I don't know. I think Toronto has completely flipped the script in this series, and given where they were, it's kind of interesting because Toronto had all of the advantage in the first 2 games with the kind of travel situation that Seattle was in, and coming back to Seattle, Seattle had the advantage given the pitching matchups, and Toronto goes out there and has a brilliant start from Shane Bieber, who they got at the trade deadline, very under the radar trade acquisition. And then they got a great start, turned back the clock from Max Scherzer. The bats came alive, and all of a sudden they're back in this series. 2-2. It's the best 2 out of 3 now.
And that's just baseball. As you like to say, that's just how baseball is. What did I say before the series? The bullpen's tax, everything's against Seattle. That I could totally see in a world that Sunday night they just come in and win game 1, a game they're not supposed to win, and they won that. They took that game and they come the next day on a government holiday in Canada too. It was Thanksgiving Day on Canada on Monday. Guess what? Boom, they won that game. You have all the momentum going home. You should take it. But that's just baseball. And I mean, we'll see. Like I said, it's all going to come down to Gausman, and I think the pressure is on Toronto tomorrow. Gausman has to show up, and they have to, because if they show up tomorrow and get that win, I think they feel real confident of winning 1 out of 2 coming up, and especially they're going to go home. But I mean, hey, we got to see if Gausman has it, and I mean that's one of the things that we look at ourselves as before the season. Did the Blue Jays have enough pitching? Do the Blue Jays have enough starting pitching and enough S tier, A tier pitching to get you over the hump? Because Seattle does. That's one of the things we talked about Seattle, them having a lot of pitching. We know the Dodgers do. And Milwaukee, they just have a way. They don't have the SA tier guys, but they just have a way too. Milwaukee and Toronto are in the same boat. So we'll see. Gausman, you're getting paid. Let's see what you got, my guy. Put yourself in that category of the A tier guys. Because there's the S tiers. There's the S tiers, your Skeens, your Crochets, your Yamamotos, your Scoobles. That's your S tier. Yeah. Your A tier is that next tier down that you still give the ball to, and you're like confident they'll pitch you a gem. The Logan Webbs of the world, the Christopher Sanchez's, and those are just guys that are coming off the top of my head right now.
Fried, maybe.
I mean, I have biases, but
I know he had one really good playoff start and one really bad one. So
I understand people are allowed to have their bad days. Hey, everybody has their bad day at work. Everybody works up on the wrong side of the bed, and you're allowed to that. But when it becomes something repetitive in the big moments, that's you keep remembering those things.
Anything else on Seattle, Toronto before we move to the other series?
How do you feel about it? Like you said, best 2 out of 3 next. How do you feel about it? Do you still feel good? Who's the pressure on? Who do you feel good about?
I think all the pressure's on Seattle, especially tomorrow at home, your last home game of the year potentially. You don't want to go back to Toronto down 3-2. I know it's been done before, a 2019 World Series. The road team won every single game, but you don't want to be in the situation to have to replicate that. So I think the pressure's on Seattle. Clearly, they got to win that one, and now they have to win a game in Toronto again. So home field advantage has flipped to the Blue Jays. I think the pressure's on Seattle. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say it'll be interesting to see what happens with the bullpens and the pitching management and the lineups as well. I mean, we saw Leo Rivas get his first postseason start tonight at second base. They moved Polanco to DH, and so interesting what they go out with the lineup tomorrow.
Rivas got picked off tough. Cal Raleigh's been kind of struggling behind the plate. A lot of pass balls, I feel like, in Seattle so far.
Oh, and by the way, to that guy we dropped that clip, the previewing the series. That guy on Instagram Reels. I know I'm coming at you for just saying Kirk's not one of the best catchers in baseball. Kirk just got named for the Gold Glove finals. So and Cal Raleigh was not on that list. I understand a lot of it's with politics and whatever, but Alejandro Kirk is having himself a year.
I had to respond to that guy. He was disrespecting Alejandro Kirk in the comments. I was not having it.
Go watch ball. Touch grass, buddy.
And Kirk hasn't been hitting, and he actually struggled a little bit in game 1 and game 2 defensively, but he's going to win the Gold Glove in the American League, and Patrick Bailey's going to win it in the National League. So yeah, we won't tolerate any Alejandro Kirk defensive hate on this podcast.
I will not tolerate any slander on, of non-ball knowing slander. I understand that you could not be watching Toronto baseball because it's up in Canada and, whatever, but let's call it how it is. We will be calling things how it is, and we will admit when we're wrong. And that's a perfect segue into calling me being very wrong. And I had a text conversation with William. It was Monday night. I had dual screens. I It wasn't Monday night, or it was Tuesday night. Yes, it was Tuesday night. I had dual screens, obviously. I was watching the Dodgers Brewers series, and it was a Tuesday night. Yes, it was Tuesday night. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I'll go ahead and say, after seeing him live and seeing him pitch again against the Brewers, he has the best breaking stuff in the major leagues from a starter's perspective. I think his splitter is devastating. What do you do when you're expecting fastball and he just drops in a splitter right there and he's dotting it up? Like, he has so many weapons to his arsenal. He's worth every $325 million that the Dodgers paid him. And for him to go and pitch a complete game against the Milwaukee Brewers, completely silence them on the road, like, take a bow. And I'll admit, I was salty. I didn't want for him to go to the Dodgers. And, I have the Japanese bias where, I do feel like a lot of Japanese players do struggle in the major leagues. But he is literally worth every single penny. And just to keep a reference, in Japan, in the baseball league, William, it's the MPB, right? The Nippon Baseball League. They have the Sawamura, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, excuse me, but the Sawamura. It's the Cy Young. It's given to the best pitcher in the league. There's an option that they can deem that no pitcher deserves to win this award, to be elite. And I read this on Twitter I forgot the Twitter account, whatever, but give reference. But they could, they can deem nobody is elite enough to win the award. And nobody has won the award since Yoshinobu Yamamoto has left the league. It just goes to show you the type of pitcher that he is. And I mean, Tuesday night, the performance was incredible. Him going with a splitter, the fastball, it was just chef's kiss. Even Mark Pryor said he has not seen, which, we talk about Mark Pryor, a very good pitcher in his day, said that him watching what Snell did on game one, and I'm not discounting what Snell did game one, because Snell was also like locked in, literally. But he saw from Snell and Yamamoto on back-to-back days, he hasn't seen like a pitching start of like those two.
Yeah, I thought Yamamoto's start on Tuesday was one of the best pitching performances we've seen in the postseason in a while. And to your point, I understand you had the hesitation heading into his career in Major League Baseball. I think the difference with Yamamoto is he had the pedigree in Japan, and he was like, 25 when he was coming over from the NPB. He was a 5-time All-Star, a 3-time Triple Crown winner, a 3-time Pacific League MVP. He won the Sawamura Award 3 times, and then he had like the Golden Glove Award 3 times, Best Battery Award with his catcher 3 times, ERA champion 4 times, strikeout champion 4 times, wins leader 3 times. Like,
that's nuts.
He's one of the best pitchers in probably the history of that league, and he was only in it for a few seasons. And we've seen it. He's come over here and just absolutely shredded Major League pitching. And what are you going to do? It's been the story for the Dodgers this whole series is heading in. It's like, okay, if the Brewers can just get these Dodgers starting pitchers out of the game in even the 5th inning and just make the Dodgers use their pen. Game 1, Snell lights out, only had to get 1 inning out of the bullpen. Game 2, Yamamoto literally goes the whole thing. Game 3, Glasnow was a little bit shaky, and this was kind of the one opportunity for the Brewers to get back into it, where the Dodgers had to use a little bit more of their pen. It doesn't matter because the Brewers, they couldn't get anything going offensively, and that's where this series has been won and lost, in my opinion, is the Dodgers starting pitching, because it's not like the Brewers have, it's not like the Brewers pitching has been horrible. The Dodgers bats have been relatively quiet. They've only scored 9 runs in this series. 10 runs in this series so far through 3 games. 2 in game 1, 5 in game 2, and 3 today in game 3. The Brewers pitching has been solid enough. It's just the Dodgers pitching has been completely lights out. And I don't know if that's more of an indication of how bad Brewers hitting has been or how good Dodgers pitching has been. I would lean, honestly, just Dodgers pitching has been completely elite.
Like, let me ask you this question. I mean, we see Yamamoto, he's so freaking good. And I saw him live against the Reds. And I mean, just let him settle in for 1 inning. In the first inning's rocky, he got the home run off Churio, and the same thing happened with the Reds. But after he gets locked in, like, he is just like becomes a different force of nature. And what's crazy is he's doing this in his second MLB season. that he's like only scratching the surface of how good he could be. Could you imagine him like next year or 2 years from now when he actually gets more acclimated to major leagues and more acclimated to America? Like, can like the dude's gonna be like, it's ridiculous. And I know
he's 27. I mean, a Cy Young is in his sights.
Yeah, Cy Young's in his sights, and like when you look at pitchers have a long prime. They're like he's just entering his prime, and his prime's a little bit later. Like he's doing this at 27 years old. Like it's ridiculous. I do want to talk about, we talked about it on the last pod. Like you give up game one. Game one's tough to give up, and tonight you have everything in your favor. Like you get the run early, and you get Glasnow out early, and you still can't capitalize. It's like whatever the Brewers do, they're completely outmatched. And it's no dig at Milwaukee. It's just there's just a talent discrepancy like there. And I'm going to ask you right now, out of the big four, like the four starting pitchers of the Dodgers, which we would say is Yamamoto, Snell, Ohtani, and Glasnow, because who cares about the fifth one at this point? Like really, like how many of those are number one pitchers in other major league teams? Out of how many major leagues? Out of 30 major league teams?
Well, we don't have to go team by team, but a good chunk of all four of those guys would be game one starters for a good chunk of Major League Baseball.
Let's go through it. And the NL Central.
Every single team?
No, easy. NL Central. They would all in the NL Central. There's no single pitcher in the NL Central that competes against them, except for Paul Skeens. So there's four teams.
Yeah, Paul Skeens, obviously.
There's four right there. Let's go to the AL East. In the AL East, not the Red Sox.
Crochet.
I said not the Red Sox.
Oh yeah.
So you have another four teams because you would take them over any Yankee pitcher. Easily.
Not Cole.
We don't know what Cole looks like right now, but you have 4 and 4. That's 8. Okay. In the NL East, who are they better than?
I wouldn't take them. I wouldn't take all of them over like a healthy Zach Wheeler, a healthy Chris Sanchez, which he's healthy. I take him over everybody on the Mets, Marlins, and Braves.
Okay, so there you have another 4 teams.
Yeah.
4 teams. So then you're at 12. Let's go to the West, in the NL West. What's up in the NL West? The NL West.
Healthy Corbin Burns? Probably not over
No, whoa. I take him over Arizona. Every team in the West. Easily. There's no ace.
Logan Webb?
Yeah, you take easily.
All 4 of them over Logan Webb?
Yes. So you're at 16 right now. And then you go to the AL West. Mariners, yes. Mariners, Rangers, A's, Houston, and who else? Who's the 15 team in that division?
The Angels.
And the Angels, yes, all 5 there. You're at 21.
You take all 4 of them over what Seattle has? Healthy
Yes.
Brian Wu?
Yes. No question.
Snell and Yamamoto are locked in top 10 pitchers right now. I'd say Yamamoto's top 3 or 4. Glasnow was shaky today, and Ohtani, I don't know, but the top 2 are, I'd take them over most pitchers. It's the top 2 right now. The only guys I would take over them in one game is probably Skeens, Crochet, and Skubal. That's it.
That's the only 3 you take. So there's 27 teams right there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's not fair because everyone could have. I mean, they traded for Glasnow, right, and then re-signed him. Ohtani was an acquisition. Yamamoto was an acquisition, but anybody could have signed Blake Snell. Anybody, in theory, could have signed Ohtani, but I think Ohtani was probably always going to sign with the Dodgers. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and there was that whole Passan article that came out before the series, talking about how this game is going to have major implications, or this series is going to have major implications on, how the CBA negotiations go, because the Brewers were kind of made from scratch and they were very, low funded team, whatever. And the Dodgers were this super team, Death Star team. But like, I'm not crying poor for any billionaire owner. Like these guys can all sign players if they really wanted to. They don't. And the Dodgers do. And credit to them. I think the one maybe a little bit unfair advantage the Dodgers have is every single Japanese player and there's been some elite ones come over the last few years.
Well,
They all want to go play with Ohtani. They all want to go play for the Dodgers. And like a team like the Guardians or the Nationals just has no chance to sign Japanese players the way the Dodgers do. That's maybe the one fair advantage, but like in terms of regular, domestic free agency, anybody can sign these guys at the Dodgers. Dodgers signed Tanner Scott and he stunk this year. He hasn't pitched for them at all this postseason.
Let's do it. Like we said, I think we said one pod. Let's do an international baseball draft and this, draft them. Let's see Shohei Ohtani hit homers in Coors. Let's see him driving around in Coors in Denver.
Hey, the funny thing is, like, Sasaki pitched the first month of the season, really struggled, and spent most of the season in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Like, as someone coming over from Japan and having to go live in Oklahoma City compared to Los Angeles, like that is definitely a major culture shock. And he's super young, but for whatever reason, OKC must have been really good for Roki because now he looks elite.
That might be a reality TV series. Like, I feel like that would make it money. Like, take him to like barbecue, like eat brisket and barbecue. Like, just think that'd be pretty funny. But to the series point, I mean, I just don't see a way where Milwaukee can come back. It's like they are on life support. Even their manager is saying, he made a comment. Pat Murphy said, Snell makes more money than our entire pitching staff. And it's good for a good reason. I'm like, how do you inspire confidence into your team? I understand, like, yes, there's better players and there's always better people, but like, it's a tough look to put out in the media,
Yeah. I got a couple stats. Teams taking a 3-0 lead in any best of 7 postseason series have gone on to win it a staggering 40 of 41 times, including 31 sweeps. We're not going to talk about that one that was a loss. And in the 7 previous instances of a team taking a 3-0 series lead in a best of 7 set versus an opponent with MLB's best regular season record, the series ended in a sweep all 7 times. Interesting note there because the Brewers had the best record in Major League Baseball this year, and they're probably going to go out and get swept against the Dodgers in October. I think one positive for Milwaukee today was Jacob Misiorowski. He kind of felt like the one neutralizing factor against Dodger bats. 5 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned, 9 strikeouts. I got to say, I think Pat Murphy managed a poor game tonight. Deciding to start Aaron Ashby did not work out. The Dodgers had a run on the board like 6 pitches into the game. I think he should have just started Misiorowski. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but the way we saw Misiorowski pitching, he looked like he could have got the start.
He pitched great against Chicago as well.
Pitched great against Chicago as well in Game 5. He didn't pinch hit Bowers for when Vesia was facing him in kind of a big spot later in the game with runners on. I know Bowers has been one of their best hitters this postseason, but it's a lefty on lefty matchup. I probably would have gone to the bench there. I think, the biggest mistake though was not going with Misiorowski to start. And for whatever reason, they keep doing this little opener thing. And Ashby didn't have his stuff. Misiorowski did. And the Brewers only scored 1 run. So another big note here is Churio left the game with the hamstring injury.
Again,
I think he's their best player. Tough loss for them. I mean, Yelich has been a complete no-show this postseason.
Yeah,
they're not hitting. Yelich is hitting. My goodness, Yelich is hitting 200 with a 527 OPS this October.
It's
one extra base hit.
It's a bad time for the lights to go off. And I want to ask you another question. I was thinking about this when I was watching the game, and we got to give Jacob Misiorowski love for as much scrutiny that he got for making the All-Star team and everything, and he was struggling a little bit. I mean, let me ask you, Jacob Misiorowski is easily top 5 in Major League Baseball for young pitchers. And by young pitchers, I mean pitchers with no more than 2 years of service time. You think about that list, you obviously put Jacob Misiorowski up there. Cam Schlittler is in there. Who else? Cade Horton's probably in the mix. Those are 3 guys that come top of my head. I don't know if you pitch in. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Skeens has 2 full years quite yet. But
no, Skeens. Well, he's like 1.8, but I don't count Skeens. I don't count Skeens. He's an alien.
To your point, Mizorowski is in that conversation. I actually had that thought today. And then the final thing that I didn't like that Pat Murphy did is I thought he left Mizorowski in for too long in the sixth when it was clear those first two batters got on, that his stuff was kind of diminished in that sixth inning. He left him in, and that's when Edman singled to make it 2-1, gave them the lead, and then Uribe comes in and tries to pick off Freeman, and bad pick off there. And you could do this on the Brewers season, the hang up. But that was that, and I think their season's over.
Yeah.
But were you gonna say something else?
No, I mean I thought about the Mizorowski point, and I forgot to mention it against the Cubs. And tonight he just kind of furthers that, thing of like top five. He's in the top five pitchers, young pitchers, like up and coming, like next 2 years. And I've been high on him since the prospect days because that fastball is woof.
Yeah, when he's locating, he's almost untouchable. I got one thing.
What's up?
I think the Dodgers we're officially on 13-1 watch for the Dodgers this postseason. I think we could have one of the best postseason runs of all time with the Dodgers here. And let me just pull up the.
Do you want me to make another point on that note?
Sure.
And this is going to be very, very controversial. I think we're on Yankees watch with the Dodgers. I think we could be entering an era where they win this year. And when you look at next year, yes, we know the Mets are going to spend and they're going to bring a team. But what team in Major League Baseball can compete with those four guys if healthy, though that rotation if healthy, and the hitters that they have? I mean, we got to give some credit to Mookie Betts. I mean, that's another thing I wanted to bring up. Mookie Betts is a freaking alien. The dude was a career outfielder with the Dodgers, Dodgers and Red Sox, comes over and down in 2024 and starts playing second base, and casually in 2024 wins a Silver Slugger. And now this year he moves over to shortstop. And I think, doing that, I think he had a Jeter-esque play, roll into the third base side, and then absolutely just throws a bullet where Freddie Freeman didn't have to move. Yes, it went into the dirt, but he didn't have to do anything crazy. It was online and gets the out at first base. Gold Glove finalist at shortstop, Silver Slugger. We need to have that conversation about the Dodgers being there next year. I mean, Freddie, we talk about him being the Grim Reaper in the playoffs. Yeah.
I agree. I think there is the opportunity for them to, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but a three-peat is not out of the realm of possibility. But to the 13-1 point, if you want to look at some of the best postseason runs in Major League history, tied for first is the 2005 White Sox. They went 11-1 that year. Mm-hmm. You had the 1999 Yankees who went 11-1. In 2022, the Astros were 11-2 that year. The 98 Yankees won 114 games in the regular season and then went 11-2 in the postseason, one of the best teams of all time. You had the Red Sox go 11-3 in 2018. That was an outstanding Red Sox team. Right now, the Dodgers have only lost one postseason game, so they're 8-1 right now. I think 13-1 is within the realm of possibility because of these four starting pitchers that they have. It's just so hard to beat them on any given night. They've just been completely lights out. And I think a big thing here is as well, like there's a very good chance they just finish off the sweep with Milwaukee tomorrow, which is tomorrow's Friday. World Series Game 1 isn't until next Friday. Seattle and Toronto could very well go to a seventh game, and they're just beating up on each other, wearing each other out, and the pitching gets used heavily, the bullpens get taxed, and LA is just resting for a full week. You can make an argument that's not good for baseball. I think for pitching it's good, and that's their strength is pitching. That they can go out, and I would not be surprised if they swept the Blue Jays or the Mariners in the World Series. I mean, we thought last year that the Yankees had a shot against them. The Yankees were a pretty good team, the best team in the American League last season, and they crushed the Yankees, won that series 4-1. So I think 13-1 is possible for this Dodgers team, which would go down as the best postseason in Major League history. You also had the Rangers in 2023. They went 13-4. And then last year, the Dodgers were 11-5 in the postseason. So this, they didn't have necessarily the best regular season, but it could go down as one of the best postseasons in history.
I mean, they're playing for the playoffs. My guy is at the end of the day they're in the hunt for the playoffs. And like I said, 13-1, and you also talk about them winning this year. They're going to be a tough out. I mean, Max Muncy's playing good ball. I mean, defensively, like they just do the little things right. And at the end of the day, they're just going to be a really tough out for whoever they play. I don't see anybody matching up with their rotation. Their hitters are great 1 through 4, and then you have those guys in the back of the order also producing. Like Kike Hernandez is not a guy you want to see in the playoffs. And
yeah, I had to turn the AC off. AC's blowing.
I know, but I mean, it is what it is, my guy. I expect the Brewers to be packing their bags, getting eliminated tomorrow to Milwaukee. I know. There was this thing I read on Twitter that supposedly the hotel in Milwaukee has ghosts, and so I don't think LA wants to. I don't think those Dodgers players and the wives and girlfriends want to make that trip back cross country over to the Midwest again.
Yeah, I saw that. Like Teoscar moved hotels or something.
Yeah, I think it's ending tomorrow.
Yeah, 4-game sweep. I think it's over.
It's over. I mean, they're going to kick up, rest up, probably do a simulated game early on next week, and get ready. I mean, defensively, they're doing all the little things. I mean, like I said, Max Muncy, Mookie Betts. I'll ask you the question: Mookie Betts, Hall of Famer, first ballot?
Oh yeah, no hesitation.
The Gold Glove, like I said, like it's crazy how he's so athletic, and he's doing this at age 33.
He's still in his prime. I know he didn't have a good regular season,
but the defense, man, you learning a whole new position. He was at second, outfield, and now shortstop. Whew. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
so.
He's one of the most unique, I think, baseball players of this generation. I know Ohtani kind of like dwarfs all guys in terms of uniqueness, but Mookie's versatility has been really incredible.
8-time All-Star, 3 times World Series champion, AL MVP, 5-time MLB first team, 6-time Gold Glover, 7-time Silver Slugger, batting champion, and 3-time RBI run scored leader. So, it's nuts.
They are a very good team. Yeah.
And they're not going to get any worse because who knows? They'll sign somebody, they'll trade for somebody. And like I said, this year, they didn't make a lot of small moves, but this year that they had actual needs in the bullpen, they didn't do anything. If they would have had a freaking nuclear closer like a Mason Miller or a Johan Duran in the pen, could you imagine? Like Monday night's game probably isn't anything of note or anything of like noteworthiness of like suspense where they loaded up the bases. Like changes the course of a lot of things.
They signed Tanner Scott to a $72 million deal, and he was just not good this season, but he's still got 4 years under contract in LA. Like bullpen guys are so mercurial. He could come back next season and be an all-star, be one of the best relievers in the game. Who knows,
Or they'll find a way to jettison him somehow because the Dodgers have a way of just making trades. Like they're the best team in the majors, and I don't know.
Yeah. Like Tommy Edman.
I know they just got Tommy Edman last year. Like
NLCS MVP, had a big hit today. It's not like all of these guys are just free agent signings. They've been making good trades too.
Yeah.
I mean, God, that Mookie Betts trade is going to go down as one of the worst trades in history from the Red Sox perspective. I mean, they got literally nothing in return for one of the best players in the league.
One of the best players of all time. That play tonight, I'm telling you right now, that's you've played that position before. That play is hard.
Oh yeah, of course.
Extreme level of difficulty.
Everyone loved to give Jeter crap for that play for some reason. I guess because he was Derek Jeter, because he was a Yankee, they didn't like to discredit the guy. But it's a really tough play. Really tough play. I mean, the arm strength you have to pull that off. I did say when I was watching that game, I'm like, Andrew Vaughn, can you run a little bit faster?
But that throw was also like Freddie Freeman didn't have to do any acrobatics. Like, yeah, it was a little bit of work, but it wasn't like he had to like help him out. It was like, oh, cool, just a little simple pick. Yeah. So, I mean, Jesus, man. I mean, it is. What time is it right now? It is 12:26 Eastern Standard Time. I mean, when are we coming back to these listeners? I mean, are we doing funerals next episode or are we doing recaps?
I think next episode will be Saturday in person in the hotel room.
That's going to be hilarious.
After, I guess, recapping tomorrow's doubleheader of because I think tomorrow will probably be, or Saturday will probably be a Brewers funeral. We're both seem to be leaning that way. Ohtani's on the mound against undecided right now for the Brewers. Obviously, there won't be a funeral for the Blue Jays or Mariners because that one's going back to Toronto no matter what happens tomorrow. There was some Yankee news today. I have some notes written down. You want to get to some Yankee news real quick because there was some noteworthy things.
If we do a Yankee news, if we go into Yankee news, we're gonna be stuck here for another hour. I feel like, but why not? I mean, one thing before we close the book, I just want to make this note. Just putting this out there.
I know where you're going with this.
143 batting average, 400 OBP, 143 slugging, in 10 plate appearances and 7 at bats. 1 hit, 1 RBI, 1 stolen base, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. Name that player.
Can I also give a stat for this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
17 strikeouts and 38 at bats.
Name that player.
It's Ohtani. He's been terrible.
You know what would be so funny? I would just put this out there in the universe because I don't know. I just had this thought when you said Ohtani's on the mound tomorrow. What if Ohtani gets absolutely shelled and we come back Saturday and it's like, yep, going back to Milwaukee. Ohtani goes on the mound and gives up 4 or 5 in like 3 or 4 innings.
Well, they got one more in LA even if they lose tomorrow.
Yeah, but what if that happens? I could totally see that happening. And then Saturday we go on air like, yeah, man, game's on right now. We're in the hotel room. We'll be looking like those podcasts, 2 dudes just holding a mic in the middle of a room and Kayla managing the freaking camera. And they're like, oh my God, these dudes are actually real people. They actually have legs and torsos.
Yeah, they've just seen our necks and above.
And they don't wear hoodies all the time.
Yeah. No, I think he's going to be good tomorrow. I don't trust the Brewers bats right now at all. Shouldn't have flown the L flag, I guess, but karma works in mysterious ways.
You can go ahead with the Yankee news. I'm reserving all my Yankees for the Yankees postmortem off-season stuff because,
So today was the postmortem presser. Aaron Boone had some updates. Aaron Judge will not require off-season surgery on his right elbow, which I think is the biggest victory of the news conference. That was huge. However, Carlos Rodon underwent a procedure to remove loose bodies from his left elbow. He will be no throw for 8 weeks and likely miss the start of the season, which that sucks. Anthony Volpe had shoulder surgery on Tuesday to repair a torn labrum in his left shoulder. Won't be able to hit for 4 months and won't be able to dive for 6 months, which is quite a long time. He will not be ready for opening day, it seems, which means do we see Caballero? Do we see the Yankees do something in the offseason to get a shortstop? I don't think so. And then Brian Cashman confirmed that Anthony Volpe will, like I just said, start the season on the injured list. So those are the main takeaways from that press conference. And they also want Jason Dominguez to play winter ball. Your mic is a little staticky there.
I have nothing to say.
Unplug it. Ooh, unplug your mic. It's a little staticky. Yeah, I was getting all messed up there. I know you don't have anything to say, but it's better now.
I have nothing to say, and what I want to say, I will not say on podcast. On live.
Okay.
I will just text it to you, and you can just laugh. So yeah, no comment. I'll save my takes for another date.
All right.
Like the weekend says, save your tears for another day.
The Weeknd's always like number 1 on Spotify in terms of top artists, which I don't really get. Like, I don't know anybody that actively seeks The Weeknd's music. It's fine. I'm not a Weeknd hater, but
I like it, but it's not like I'm actually like you said, I'm not actually like, I need track 3 off the Starboy album now. Like, let's do it. You know what I have been listening to a lot lately, and I will out myself, and I did get clowned for it at the gym. I've been working out to some Taylor Swift, Life of a Showgirl. It's a pretty good album.
All right. Well, Kayla will like you this weekend for sure then.
Let's go.
Talk to her about that. All right. Well,
it's my work music. It's like, bro, music right now is bad. All I see is NBA YoungBoy, the NBA YoungBoy concerts, and I'm like, you know what? I just need calmful, peaceful music for the office that I can just like do pivot tables on Excel, crank out some formulas and some averages, and build some pie graphs. So
Love it.
love it.
Well, we'll wrap there so we can go to bed and get waking up to those pivot tables and some ifs and all that stuff tomorrow in the morning. This was a fun one. Baseball is almost over, which makes me sad, but these series are ramping up, especially out there in Seattle. So we'll be back on Saturday in person to recap tomorrow's action and preview if there is a game on Saturday night in LA. If not, we'll be previewing a game 6, Toronto, Seattle. So Luis, thank you as always. Everyone else, thank you all for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube, trying to get to 200 subscribers before the end of the calendar year. Until Saturday, catch you guys next time. Peace out.